Okay, we are now working on oiling the neck on our guitar, and we are going to use a product called tung oil. Tung oil traditionally was made from a nut. I don't exactly know the type of nut, but it was they got the oil out of this nut. I think it was the tung tree, but don't hold me on that one. And it's an oil that hardens, especially when it's put inside of a wood. So what they would do is they'd make this oil out of this nut, and then they'd wipe it on wood, and then it would build up inside the wood and harden from the inside on the wood. And it became a really popular finish for a lot of woodworking projects and a lot of woodworking things for probably centuries. I know that it began in the East and was used for a long time, but our modern tung oil that you would buy at, say, Home Depot, where this came from, is not all made from the tung nut. It's actually a varnish that's made to work like tung oil would work. Tung oil is rather expensive. It has some tung oil in it. It also has other distillants and other oils in it that help it to actually dry faster and to make a better finish. We wouldn't need to do the, say, 10 coats that you would do with real tung oil. Using this, maybe 2 coats would be enough. It's a really popular finish for guitar necks because it's not a finish that sits on top of the wood like the clear coat that we put on our guitar body. It's a finish that goes inside the wood. It actually makes the wood harder. It makes the wood more resistant to moisture and changes in environment, and it brings in the shine from the inside. It really makes the grain pop too. It's a beautiful thing, and for a guitar neck, it keeps it smooth because you still feel the wood. You don't feel that kind of like plasticky finish that you would get if, say, we covered this in the nitrocellulose finish or a polyurethane, which would be like the hard plastic finish on your dining room table. So let me show you how we're going to do this. First, I'm going to put on gloves because you really just don't want to get this on your hands. It's kind of gross stuff that we don't want to deal with. So, glove up here. And then I'm going to pour it off into a can. I have to use a cut-off soda can for this. You can always pour it back. You pour just enough that you really have enough to coat the entire neck. I'm going to take a rag, just a regular white rag. I'm going to fold it so I kind of just don't have any of the fray down here that might get some parts on my neck. Dip it in the oil. And then I'm going to just rub that into the wood all around. And you can really see how it changes the wood. It's going to give the wood a yellowish kind of color to it as well. It really makes that fretboard, if you watch the fretboard from being light brown, it's going to immediately go dark brown, and you're really going to see the difference in there. And I'll bring it up close so you can really see how that changes, and you can see the grain better. There you go. Really see the grain better, and on the back of the neck you can really see how it shines up and polishes and gets darker. You can see the line right there where it went from where it's got the tung oil to where it doesn't have the tung oil. And I'm going to coat this whole thing up with a pretty heavy coat, making sure I really don't miss anything. You can't put too much on here, and it doesn't even really matter how smooth or easy you put it on because it's all going to balance out. Put it on super thick, and when I'm all done, what I wind up doing is I wind up wiping off the excess, and it all evens out. So I'm just really going to run as much of it as I can on here. Drips and all, doesn't even matter. It's a great finish. I love this stuff because of that, because you really can't mess it up. And it's so thin, it really does make for a great guitar finish. that, there's a red-tailed hawk flying around right above my head. Yeah, I know you can hear him. Put that on there. Doesn't even bother the frets because when I go and polish the frets, this will come right off. Such a great product to use. And in the sunlight, it dries in really, it just soaks right into the wood so fast. Don't want to spill it on myself. I am wearing a apron, but I am also wearing exposed socks and sandals. And there's nothing like having tung oil dripping on your socks. You don't really want that. So you can see there's a lot of excess on here. It's really shiny with excess. And I'm just gonna take and let that soak for a minute. See how much extra oil's on there. You can see my kid's giant sandcastle right there. It's pretty cool, huh? And then once this is dried up a little bit, I can go ahead and take a clean rag and I just wipe off all the extra. And I especially want to get the extra off the fretboard because it will get a little bit sticky because it won't dry if it's too thick. And the last thing you want is a sticky fretboard. So we're gonna really get that all out of there. But like I said, it doesn't dry on the wood, it dries in the wood. So whatever's on the top, you can get off and it'll all kind of, and this would be, don't sting me please. Looks like the bee likes the tung oil. Hey, get out of here. There we go. And I'll probably coat this about 1 or 2 more times like this. And then I'll be able to put this neck on our guitar. And one thing I have noticed with this is that you really want to make your last wipe off with the rag and not with the glove, because the glove will have a lot of extra oil on it and it'll leave little fingerprints where there's more oil than other spots, little sticky fingerprints. So I'm really just getting as much of that out of there as I can without touching it. I touch it down here by the heel because no one's going to see that part. Alright, I'm going to go hang this up to dry and I'll put another coat on there. I'm not going to have you show that. And tung is your password. T-U-N-G. Tung. 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 Alrighty. See you guys next time.